Welcome back to the Relius Reviews. Today's review is focused on 2021's movie entitled Kate. And the official synopsis of Kate is: slipped a fatal poison on her final job. A ruthless Tokyo assassin has less than 24 hours to find out who ordered the hit and exact revenge. And before I give up my review, please like and subscribe and comment and tell me what I should review next. And when it comes with the movie Kate, I felt like Kate was a pretty good movie. It was a nice action crime movie that we've seen many times before. And out of all, it was a cool movie in my opinion. So here is my movie recap. I would say the first thing that I enjoyed about this movie were the characters. I felt like Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Kate. I enjoyed her character a lot. She was an absolute savage in this movie as she did her best to stay alive, to figure out who ordered this hit on her. And whenever she was in scenes on her own or with other characters, she always stood out to me as dominant, as someone who doesn't go down without a fight. And within this movie, she does that absolutely. She was a badass. I'll just say that, okay? I'll just say that. I felt like Woody Harrelson as Varric, his character to me in this movie, he wasn't bad at all. Although to me, I felt like his role was a little bit limited. But like Varric, he has known Kate for a long time. He was basically Kate's mentor and how she became like a ruthless hitman and everything. And there's just a few surprising revelations regarding his character in this movie that was definitely expected, if that makes sense. Miku Martineau as Annie. And honestly, I felt like Miku Martineau did a good job portraying as Annie. I felt like Annie in this movie she was pretty annoying in most of her scenes. And it's not because she's a bad actress. That's just her character, as she has lost almost everybody in her life. Like, she has really nobody to like go to, because even some people in her own family wants her dead for many reasons that is unknown. And in this movie, her character Annie and Kate have many different scenes together, which was for most of the time pretty good. And I would say most of the main characters in this movie were all pretty good. I would say another thing that I felt like this movie did well on was the action and the violence. This movie does have a lot of different crazy action and violence scenes, which is just always a good thing to have in like an action crime type of movie. It's nothing extremely out of the ordinary or something that like sets the standards of what it should be, but it was still some pretty good action in this movie and some pretty good violence, gruesome killings with folks getting their heads cut off, people getting turned into some shirts, like just the good old violence. And another thing that I actually liked in this movie was the music. Like, to me, I felt like the Japanese music that was used in this movie was pretty actually good when it came to a few of the scenes. Like, for some reason, the music to me in this movie, it was actually pretty good and interesting for what they did. And I would say maybe the first things that I did not enjoy about this movie would probably have to be maybe some of the CGI scenes. Some of the CGI scenes in this movie, they're not bad, but at the same time, it could have been a little bit better. And I would say some of the worst ones would probably have to be the one in the very beginning when Kate is trying to get away, when she steals that car. And when she was driving and everything and how it looked, honestly, it looked like a freaking Hot Wheel in CGI. Like, for some reason, that's what I just pictured it as, like a freaking Hot Wheel, just like racing and everything. And so it wasn't bad, but at the same time, it wasn't all that special. I would say another thing that I did not enjoy about this movie was that I felt like Kate and Annie's somewhat of like a relationship was somewhat inconsistent. Like, during the movie, at times, it would be as if like they had like an understanding of what they were doing together. like an understanding that they had to be together to like solve this crazy hit and everything. But then there were other times where they would just absolutely hate each other, or Ani would just absolutely despise Kate for different reasons that is explained in this movie. Like at times it wasn't serious, but then other times I was just like, okay, like yeah, she did what she did, but there's a bigger fish to fry. So are you still going to be mad? Like, I don't know. It's just like a small nitpick that I have with this movie. And I would say this movie is like a typical action movie that you see somebody getting set up, somebody getting poisoned, and they just have to either figure out who did it or save their own lives and everything else. Like with Kate's, as the movie kept going forward, Kate's health and life like deteriorated extremely fast. Like by the end of the movie, she was about to witness her own series finale and everything else. And so I would say out of all, I felt like Kate was a pretty good movie in my opinion. It had good action scenes and many of the characters were somewhat likable. And how I would rate Kate out of 5 stars, I think I would give Kate 3.5 stars out of 5. So thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.